I saw Teco moving into this really adept bipedality. He was able to run and do things easily bipedally at a very young age. I didn't try to encourage it in any particular way. I thought it would vanish, but he did it more and more, and his legs got stronger and stronger, and his legs seemed like in Yoda's. And Yoda has unusually long legs, and Teco had just a little bit, longer than most bonobos. So I began to mention that to the staff, that Teco was more bipedal and he could do things more bipedally, and the phase was lasting longer. And some of the people that I later know were on the Bonobo 12 didn't like it. They didn't like what I was saying. I didn't really understand why they didn't like it. I was just making observations, that this is what Teco is doing. And it got to the point where he was really way beyond the phase that most chimpanzees and bonobos drop quadrupedally. And he was becoming very adept bipedally. So I was asked to give a paper, and I was gone, I think, for 3 or 4 days. And I explained to the staff I was going to talk about this in the paper. I told them I showed them some of the footage that I was going to give. I went to this meeting, and during the time that I was at this meeting, other people took care of Teco, not Liz, some of the Bonobo 12. And when I got back, Teco's feet were cracked and they were dry, and everything was a mess. And it appeared to me that he had infirmities in his hips and infirmities in his knees, as though they had been twisted. And he was no longer able to walk bipedally when I returned. So I just took a picture of Teco's feet, because I didn't see how Teco's feet could be like that unless they were slit with a scalpel. And I mailed it to Mr. Savchak as a confidential mailing, like all my other mailings to Mr. Savchak. Mr. Savchak decided to make an accusation against the staff and release it to the Des Moines news media. I did not approve that. I had no idea he would do that. Everything blew out of control after it went to the Des Moines Register, and life for William Fields got extremely hard, and he began to feel that there was no way to save the lab. After that, somehow Ken Schwaler fired Bill Fields, and when Ken Schwaler fired Bill Fields, Ken thought the $1 million would come to us, and Ted took the $1 million, and we suddenly didn't have it. Eventually, there was an IACUC meeting, and Ken Schwaler made sure I got to go. And the photos were given to 2 vets of the Iowa State Veterinary Department. And they were not vets I even knew. And I was just sitting in as a bystander on this IACUC meeting where I think they were deciding my future. I'm not really even sure what they were deciding. This is where it happened that the $1 million did not go to the lab from Ted. It seemed to me like everybody in the whole room was not really liking anything I had done, and I was being accused of everything. Then they say to these 2 vets, well, did you look at the pictures? And these 2 vets said, yes, we looked at the pictures. And they say, well, do you think that those markings on Teco's heels could have been produced by dry skin? And they said, no, those markings could not have been produced by dry skin. And they said, well, how could they have happened? And they said, well, the only way we know that they could have happened is if Teco was up high and he jumped on, 2 sharp blades or something like that. He jumped down on something with his heels and landed on 2 really sharp edges, and they cut his feet. And everybody sort of went, the vets were validating me, and they didn't even know me. And I had sent those photos to Bill Savchak saying there's no way Teco could have these slits in his heels unless somebody made these slits in his heels, okay? Then nobody expected these vets to side with me, and they did.